felt awesome. The thing was pulling like a freight train. Definitely the hardest pull I've felt in the car. However, we got some problems. What's up, guys? Back for another update with the R32 GTR project. So we're getting ready. So we've dynoed the car. Still very conservative on a lot of the stuff on the dyno. So we gathered a lot of good data. So now we're just going through everything, making sure everything's good, and setting up some stuff that we're going to need to make some A to B passes and get down the track. So we're going to run through some of the changes for you guys. For those of you who are either new to the channel or haven't seen the project before, we got a RB30 stroke to a 3.2 with a spool imports. 3.2 liter stroker kit, 7685 precision turbo, hypertune, intake manifold, 12 injector dynamics injectors. We get all the goodies, the Platinum Racing Products trigger kit, the block brace, RB26 head, all for a valve train, good old PPG sequential box. That thing's been a dream so far. So one of the things we wanted to get a little more sorted before we get to the track is boost control. So we're adding some stiffer springs, additional springs here to the wastegates, Turbo Smart wastegates here, to be able to hit our boost target.
All right, so what we've got going on here is we're having some issues reading the speed on the car. So we need to go ahead and mount in a speed sensor so that we can get a real good signal. So what we're gonna end up doing is, this is our adapter plate that we made to our aluminum 3.5 inch aluminum dry shaft. So what we end up doing is that we got this bracket that's gonna bolt on to the actuator for the transfer case, and it holds the speed sensor here, and then this adapter holds on the output shaft of the transmission. So we're gonna modify this and actually add teats onto the outer circumference of this adapter so that we can go ahead and be able to read it, so that we can go ahead and pick up our speed signal. So speed signal, we definitely need it. That's what's going to pretty much help out with our rolling anti-lag, our launch, and really capture enough data that we need to make changes. So this is one mod that we're working on right now. Previously, we've tried to read the speed signal coming from the factory cluster, and no bueno. It's just all over the place. It doesn't read good. So we need to have something a little bit more accurate. So we're going to go ahead and put on this Hall Effect speed sensor on the back of the transfer case. We noticed that we had some issue with the power steering pump. We don't know if it's from fall damage or whatever it is, but what happened is something or another came into the pulley, it wrapped itself around and caused some damage to the seal. As you guys know, that we got rid of the four-wheel steering on the car, and we went ahead and put on a single stage power steering pump from the R33 and R34 single stage, and then we had the pulley from Ross to do that adapt, so it's a lot less space in the engine bay. So we're gonna get the seal and fix that back and stick it back on the car. You know, as we're working on the car, doing our maintenance on it and doing some upgrades, just wanted to show you guys some things that we've noticed and that we noticed on the dyno also. So if you look back here, you can see, pay real close attention to the runners, right? You see the discoloration in the runners of how hot, and you could tell where the redness was at in the header going into the collector.
Oh yeah, and then you can tell where it turns.
Yeah, so the whole idea is to really stop that heat from going right before the EGTs and going into the head. You get that redness that goes up into there and go into the head is where you're just gonna pretty much disaster at that point, dropping a valve and overheating and damaging the motor. So at the end of your run, at your highest mile an hour, this is where you want to stop that. This is where you play with your fuel and your timing curve. So if you notice that, you know, these three runners here is really, really good. But then if you come over to the front, you notice that color is not really there on this number one cylinder. It hasn't really changed that much. So we picked up on the EGTs that this cylinder here is really, really rich. Has a lot more fuel in it than the rest of them. So as we go ahead and do more hits, we'll start pulling fuel out of this one and playing with the timing and try and get the heat up inside of this cylinder. You can notice the second one probably needs a little bit more work too. That one kind of needs to to lean out a little bit more. So that's a good way to kind of really gauge on, you know, if you're running too hot or running too rich on your engine. Looking at your manifold and really analyzing it. You know, not every car has EGTs on it like the luxury that we have, so that's another tool that you can use.
You don't have the EGTs?
Yeah, you don't have the EGTs, but we have it. We'll be able to use it to do what it is that we need to do.
Now we got a all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive switch.
Yep.
Pretty sweet. So now we can do some burnouts, stage it up, launch all-wheel drive, or go do some drifting and just leave it in rear-wheel drive.
All I know, don't forget to put it back in all-wheel drive.
Yeah, don't forget to put it back in all-wheel drive. Or Andre says it's not his fault, whatever happens. All right, so we're also getting dialed in the Magnus clutch slipper. So we're gonna be able to use the e-brake, I guess you can see here, as soon as it activates. So maybe it's just pulling it slightly to activate the clutch slipper in the ECU. Yep.
So what's gonna end up happening is that you're gonna drop that and the clutch at the same time.
So I'm gonna sidestep the clutch and
both
drop this.
Yep. But the greatest thing is that what happened is when you drop everything, the clutch slipper is still gonna stay engaged by time, and then disengage after it reaches this time threshold.
Go ahead, push the clutch in, and then let it go really fast. Do it one more time, push it in, let it go really fast. Okay, now pull up the emergency brake. All right, now sink in the clutch. Let it go really fast. Do it one more time. Fast. Awesome.
Along with that same function is going to be used for the roll and anti-lag to turn it on. So that we can go ahead and
so it's kind of like how we had it on the Sequential Evo.
Yep.
So we pull it up, floor the gas, and boom, and we're off.
And
we're off to the races.
Hold on.
47-pound brake boost.
46.
So we got everything back together. We got the new wastegate springs in. We're about to go out and test the seat, make sure we can hit 40 plus PSI before we continue and go back to the hub dyno. So we're gonna go hit a hub dyno. This car was spinning on the dyno when we tried last time on the dyno jet. So one of our buddies here in West Palm has a hub dyno, so we're gonna hit that up and see what it can make. And then from there, hopefully go make some A to B passes at the track. So it made roughly about 1,060 on 35 or so PSI. And that's still pretty conservative on timing and things of that nature. So we're thinking on the street now around that same PSI, I could probably be making closer to 1,100. We're going to be shooting for 40 plus PSI. I mean, once it's all dialed in, this turbo and engine combo, we imagine could be good for probably north of 1,200. We're more concerned on getting everything dialed in and all the system checks, A-OK for us to go to the track and make some A to B passes, and that trap speed won't lie about the horsepower. So dynos can be all over the place, but that trap speed won't lie. So super stoked to go do some more testing. So we also got this new Bti display all set up. Cool TRC logo there. So this thing is super sweet. It's basically going to display a lot of different things here, but there's like a main screen here where it shows air fuel, matte PSI, target, RPM. Obviously you can see the IATs, ethanol content, oil pressure, fuel pressure, and water temp. But we can also scroll through and we get a lot of cool different displays. Peak boost, peak mile an hour. So this one's pretty cool here. A peak boost freeze frame. So on peak boost, it'll let you know what your air fuel was, what your fuel pressure was, oil pressure, duty cycle, RPM, so that's a really cool tool to not necessarily have to plug the laptop in, and on the fly you can kind of see some pretty cool data here. So Andre worked his magic. He was able to get the factory Atessa, the Nissan Atessa computer for the all-wheel drive linked up to the aftermarket engine management, and those communicate now, so we can actually control that through the link. right, so on the first pull, the car felt awesome. The thing was pulling like a freight train. Definitely the hardest pull I felt in the car. However, we got some problems. This thing is pushing a ton of oil. So we did 3rd, 4th, and a little bit of 5th. I short shifted 5th. And yeah, it's quite a bit of oil. So the catch can was empty. That means that it's pushing quite a bit of oil out of these breathers here. So we're thinking, we were hoping we can get away with this location here for the catch can for a little bit while longer, but I don't know. I mean, we might have to end up putting it over here. But yeah, that's probably gonna conclude our testing for the night, just for safety, because we don't want to have this thing catch on fire. It's, you know, obviously pushing oil right here by the downpipe, and it's all wrapped, but still, it's, you know, not worth chancing. We didn't honestly think it has never pushed this much oil. Now it's probably making more power now than we've thrown at it before. So fun stuff, part of the journey. So we're gonna take her back home, regroup, look at some other options. We were talking either in this corner here, get these lines flowing this way, which we were gonna do eventually anyway. But we wanted to get her on the road and just get to testing, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to continue safely in that current setup there. And all you Aussie boys told me, but the Americans had to learn the hard way, huh?
Yeah, Americans don't listen.
We had to learn the hard way.
Told you.
But hey, it's part of the fun.
I mean, I feel like we need to have like at least 5 quarts.
Like an extra, yeah, 3 to 5 quarts on top of what we have there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's the sump in there alone. I mean, we already added more oil to the sump, right? And then you're increasing the G's. So the oil is running back into the motor, hitting the crank. Then when it hits the crank, it's splashing it even more, right? And then pushing it straight through the back. So it's not really the motor pushing that much oil. It's really the G's taking all the oil from the oil sump and moving it to the back of the motor and hitting the crank. And then when it hits the crank, it splashes up everywhere. And then the pressure from the crankcases pushes it out there. And then when it goes into the catch can that's there, the G's itself force it back. And it just comes out through the top.
Well, yeah, because it didn't happen on the dyno.
Yeah, it doesn't happen on the dyno. It doesn't even push anything on the dyno. And then, yeah, I just feel like if you do put it here, right? I just feel like it still won't be enough. But then we gotta look at options.
You see a lot of the big boy cars that they'll have almost like this whole area, the whole area dedicated to a catch can. But fun stuff. We're gonna go back, take the data we collected, and come up with a cool solution. Get a bigger catch can in as soon as possible, and then go back to some more testing. Get to the track.
To be continued.
To be continued.
TRC R32 killer going on here.
So we got, if you guys don't remember Ugly Duckling, we'll plug a picture here. Andre's 240SX. It's getting some couple upgrades here.
Yeah, getting some upgrades.
So this is a BMW DCT?
Yeah, BMW DCT that we're doing. We're gonna go ahead and be using a GCU to go ahead and control the DCT. So we got the harness completed. We went ahead and ripped out the stock computer that was inside the transmission and went ahead and installed the kit, which is very intense. You gotta be real delicate, be really soft doing it. Put the circuit board in, go ahead and did all the wiring and soldering, and maybe I'll bring it out a little bit. So we got it to where we got the connection here now for the transmission, and then it connects to the GCU, like so.
Nice.
Like that. And then this right here is a CAN connection that will be going towards the shifter and to your computer. This is the power up for the GCU. And then we got our lockout for our park lockout. Got our adapter to our aluminum dry shaft that we have onto the back. Show you guys a shifter really quick.
That's gonna be badass.
Grab a shifter real quick. Really cool.
So we got the shifter here.
Yep.
So you definitely looks gangster.
Oh, I guess it's gonna be a good video game, bro. Good video game, right? So we got that 3.7 bottom end VQ with the 3.5 heads. I eliminated the VTC that has the cam gears in it to take it completely out on intake and exhaust. So I degreed the motor in. It has tow may cams inside of it. Cosworth head gaskets, piston and rod combo. Ported head by Port Solution Chris. So it's coming together nicely. So now I'm gonna get all the accessories and put the valve covers, everything on it, put the oil pan. Yeah.
So you got your project almost ready to drop back in, huh?
I got my motor all completely done. Got everything torqued up, got everything test fitted. So now all I'm doing right now is getting the body ready to accept it. But it's a VQ37 bottom end, so I went from a 3.5 to a 3.7 with the HR heads. Went with a larger ATI pulley for the dry sump, even though it's still going to be wet sump. I know you guys have a lot of issues with those and being able to fit the dipstick back in, but fortunately with the HR head it allows me to put the dipstick back into the head side. So we're going to stick with the same turbo and everything and the same exhaust system that we had on the 35, which should give us close to our 1,000 horsepower mark.
What turbo is that?
This is from Force Performance. It's a 7680. So 76 millimeter, 80 turbine in the back, V-band tile back housing, equal length exhaust manifold built out by Travis at You Wish, which is
you just coated this too, right?
Yeah, I had gotten this coated. 60 millimeter tile wastegate. So this is a real close-up look of how this thing looks when it's inside the car.
This thing's badass, man.
So yeah, so I'm dying to get it in there.
So this is obviously just a refresh power plant, but the exciting part is going to be the transmission.
Yeah, so when I put this back in, not only did we stroke it and we got a built motor now, but we also going with the DCT transmission from the BMW. I'm using the one exclusively from the M5, which is, you know, a lot larger and a little bit, I feel, is a little bit stronger than a traditional M3, M4 that everybody's using. But I'm dying to get it in there to kind of see that thing perform.
It's really gonna be
excited
badass.
about it. Oh man, can you imagine?
It should be one of the first 240s, I imagine, with the DCT in it, right?
Oh yeah. We'll take some video of it in the car right now. So I have the dummy, the engine that failed on us, that bent the rod. I still have it in there as far as just a block, because we're using it for mock-up. So we got the transmission in the car with light tunnel modifications. Now I'm working on the transmission mount to hold it, and then once I complete that task, then it's kind of cake from there. It's gonna be really
right around the corner.
Oh yeah, right around the corner. So I'm trying to have it in the car and idling in my garage by the end of June. So that's my goal, to get it. But this is the hard part, that is, and then getting the transmission all programmed and stuff. So it's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah, a lot of engineering going into like especially the transmission, because you're the first one to kind of do it. So you're learning all the.
I'm learning as I go along, so I could go ahead and copy and paste it into the customers when they ask. But I designed the flywheel. I did the adapter plate. So I'm doing a lot of the work myself as I go along. As you know, this car has always been a training module for me, so it allows me to learn and adapt, and then go ahead and move forward to support the media and the customers. So that's really great. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait to retry that thing out. And we're gonna do the video like how
sequential versus DCT.
Oh yeah, I let Javier drive it last time, so now I'm gonna let him drive it this time with the DCT, and it's just gonna be crazy. I can't wait and just watch the RPMs, the bang through the gears, no delay.
It's gonna be a monster.
Exciting. Yeah, no power drop, right? No falling out of boost. So then I can
That's gonna be huge, because that's such a big turbo.
Yeah.
You know, when you shift it, if you're not power shifting, it'll fall out of boost.
Yeah. And then not to mention, like, it is a big turbo, but it's not really a big turbo for the size motor. If you really look at it, I mean, it's a 3.7. Quick. So if we see no power drop, then stick a robot in it. Not really worried about that at that point, right?
Looks like you had some fun with a laser etcher.
Oh yeah, so we're playing with that. Yeah, a couple of guys at work were playing with it, and they really did a really good job. You know, shout out to them. I am a fan of Mandalorian, so I watch it with my kids and stuff, and we love it. So I decided to kind of put a little bit of theme onto it.
Can't wait to hear this thing.
Really? Yeah, me too, man.
Sick.
BQ cam and all that stuff. I can't wait.
240 versus R32 coming soon.
I'm gonna have a 2-car head start, and then I have Javier car on wireless. so I could hit it on low boost from my car.
Oh god, he's gonna put the thing in valet mode right before our race.
Yeah, there you go.
Via his Bluetooth or Wi-Fi.
There you go. You know, chases the race. You know, so that's the way it goes. R35 coils are on it. You know, so that's really cool.
It's gonna be sweet, man.
Yeah, got an intake manifold match ported in there that Chris had took care of for me. Good shout out to Chris, he really helped me out. That's it.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, man.
Yeah, yep.